We're here at Studio 67 on the campus of Nash Community College. Joining us is NCC's Vice President for Instruction and Chief Academic Officer, Dr. Trent Morebutter. Dr. Morebutter, welcome to Brewing NC.
Hey, Chef. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you. How you doing today?
I'm doing wonderfully, thanks. How about yourself?
Good, good. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the brewing program we've got going here at Nash Community College. How did that come to be?
Yeah, so a number of years ago, Dr. Carver, our president, talked to me about adding a kind of a third stool to support the whole culinary HRM program, knowing that anytime an industry or a town or a city is going through revitalization, a big part of that is kind of that foodie industry.
Right.
And what we've seen across North Carolina, of course, is the growth, the boom, really, of the brewing industry. And Eastern North Carolina, Nash Community College just saw ourselves having a role in helping Eastern North Carolina be part of that. Shortly after we started thinking about it and put our application forward to the system office in Raleigh and got approval from the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, we met with Mr. Goodman of Capital Broadcasting. They're revitalizing the mill and well into it now, but at that time they were just really proposing it, and at that time they wanted to focus on brewing as well, and simply said, Mr. Goodwin wanted to make sure that we were serious about our brewing program and wanted an educational partner to be part of that program at the mill, and really the rest is history. Nash Community College has been running the brewing program for I think we're in our third year.
I think so.
We have a curriculum program and an Associate of Applied Science that's a full 2-year degree. We have a craft beer brewing, the practical brewer we call it. It's a certificate that students can earn in as short as 1 semester. We also have the business of brewing, and that certificate is actually offered online. So if current brewers are out there and they kind of know what they're doing and they want to start a business, there's actually business classes that are aligned with the program. Everything from sales and marketing to attracting venture capitalists. So really, it is a full-scale model for brewing at the college. And in fact, our Con Ed program, the continuing education program part of brewing, is actually called the 360 Brewer.
Right.
Because again, we think of it being all-encompassing, and students can learn everything from stainless steel welding to industrial systems and maintenance, as well as putting those 4 magical ingredients together to make beer.
That covers about everything.
Yeah.
And I like how it's a very symbiotic relationship that we have with the brew mill.
Right.
And we even have a classroom on campus here, and we have one on site at the brew mill.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. It's a great point. We have what we call our experimental lab and classroom here on campus. It's a small system. Students make batches of beer. It's about 1/6 of a barrel, so 3 to 4 gallons every time they produce it, and allows them to really experiment with their recipes. Sometimes, one of the students a year or so ago made a beet saison. Who would ever imagine such a thing? It came out purple. It smelled a little beet-ish, if that makes sense, but it was actually really good beer, and it tasted kind of healthy, good for you, right? Yep. So good and good for you. But those are the types of things that brewers don't want to invest in 20 barrels or 600 gallons at a time, just in case they're not that good, right? It's easy to pour 3.5 gallons or 4 gallons of something down the drain. Not that happens often.
No.
Rather than, when you're talking about $30 or $40 worth of ingredients versus a full 20-barrel system, which could be $1,500 worth. Yeah. Not only that, but then you're talking about the product as well, right? So we have the experimental lab on campus, and then we call it the production lab down at the mill. So that is a full 1-barrel system and allows the students to do a 10-time scale up.
And you and I had a discussion a little bit about the value of the certification and the degree program. Just kind of let's expand on that a little bit and show people exactly what it means to have a piece of paper that says that you're an actual brewer.
Yeah, you know what, Frank, that's a great point, because, and I'll use you as an example as a chef, right? I know a lot of people that prepare food for a living.
Right.
They're careful about calling themselves a chef.
Yes.
People with a piece of paper, some kind of credentials where they've been through school and they've learned all of the techniques, and they've earned that credential, they get to call themselves a chef. And more importantly, others call them a chef. That credential allows for universal recognition. And we believe that to be true with the certifications and the degree that's available with brewing as well. And I'm not saying anybody can make beer, right?
Right.
but because making beer can be a real challenge. But there is something about being called a brewer or a master brewer. So students who matriculate through our program and earn a certificate in the practical brewer, the full associate degree, the Associate of Applied Science in Brewing, they actually have earned the information and knowledge they need to sit for the IBD certification, which is the International Brewing Distiller Certification, which that's when people get to call themselves a master brewer, right? I mean, it's just one of those things. You know, people might know something about the law, but they don't get to call themselves a lawyer unless they go to law school and pass the bar, right?
That's true.
And I know there's a lot of debate about that, and I'm all for that. But being grounded in education and understanding what sometimes education allows us to do in terms of crossing the T's and dotting the I's before we get there. Someone without a credential makes a bad batch of beer or prepares a food incorrectly. They don't have that credential to fall back on.
Right.
The credential allows anybody to say, look, I've been through these classes, I've earned this certification. The diploma on the wall is more than just a piece of paper. And that's true about any of our programs on the campus.
Yeah, and I think ticking off the boxes are important as well.
Absolutely.
You know, you want to know about marketing, we've got you covered. If you need
Absolutely.
to learn about stainless steel welding,
Yeah.
you can come and get that. You know, and that makes you a competent brewer all the way around.
The 360 piece, right?
That's exactly
and
right.
look, you mentioned how did the program start. When we were having those initial conversations, again, what seems like years ago now, which I guess it was years ago, we learned that for every one brewer in a brewery, there are 6 to 7 ancillary jobs involved, including the marketing, the advertising, the running of the business, the maintenance of I mean, 70% of, I'm ballparking here, but any brewer would agree, it's at least 70% of what goes on is making sure everything's working properly.
And clean.
And clean. And so understanding the safety and sanitation, that's another box that you check off when you go through the program.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, where do you foresee the future of the program going? Where would you like it to be traveling to?
Yeah, so that's, I mean, look, Eastern North Carolina, I think, is still on the forefront. There's no bubble in the eastern part of the state with regard to, or not a bubble developing with regard to the craft brewing industry. I look at it as economic development, right? Like I said, for every brewer, there's 6 or 7 other jobs, other career opportunities that go along with that. I see it continuing to evolve, and see our program continuing to grow because there are more opportunities. We're hearing about more breweries opening.
Yep.
And of course, just like any food-related or beverage-related industry, there are some that don't get off the ground or get off the ground and then aren't successful. But that's another piece where our program can help. Again, we've got the business component of that. You know, we've got a number of different activities. We've got Bluefest coming up on April the 28th, and the end of Bluefest at 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock part of Bluefest. We focus on our culinary program with the Tuscan patio demonstration, and also our brewing students have an opportunity to showcase their beers. Like I said, the tastings that take place. But this year we're going to host our inaugural Best New Brew competition, where students and home brewers will have an opportunity to compete, as well as professional brewers. So people that are in established breweries who are launching a new spring beer can have an opportunity to win a medal that says that their beer is the best in the East for the spring.
I might have to throw something on the stove for that.
There you
that
go.
might be fun,
That's
actually.
right.
Okay,
Absolutely.
I ask everybody this: what's your go-to beer? What if I went to your house right now and reached in your fridge? What would I find?
Yeah, you know, that's a great question. I like a Peroni because it's that big, bold flavor, but being originally from Canada, anytime I can stumble onto a Labatt Blue, I got to grab it, right?
I hear you.
You know, I will say that one of the inaugural beers we made in the program was, we call it More Buzzer.
Right.
It's it's kind of a brown ale and we finish it with maple syrup, right? Like real Canadian maple syrup. It's awesome.
It's not bad. I'll go ahead and say it's not bad. It's pretty good, actually.
So any chance that Thomas, you mentioned Thomas Clausen, our brewmaster, he does have a degree in food science and was a brewer at NC State as well. So Thomas does have the credentials. But anytime Thomas, kind of goes to the well when we need something special, he'll put a batch of that on, and it's always a fan favorite. So I enjoy that.
Well, maybe we'll spin some up and we'll see how it places at Bluefest.
Now that's an idea.
I know you're a busy man. Thank you for your time, Dr. Moore-Butter.
Chef, thanks. It's always a pleasure.
As you can see, Nash Community College's brewing program is constantly changing to meet the demands of the brewing community. I'm Frank Bookhardt. Thanks for joining me on Brewing NC, and I'll see you soon.